After weeks of delays, the city of Bloomington says it's unable to build a monolith in Miller Showers Park this year. Officials say they're now considering changes to the design. Ethan Sandwise takes a close look at where this monolith came from and how public backlash derailed the city's plans.
Squeezed between heavy traffic on Walnut Street and College Avenue, Miller Showers Park is Bloomington's entrance for travelers heading downtown. Their first impression of the city could be a 40-foot monolith with light-up letters spelling Bloomington. The city announced construction publicly in September. Backlash was immediate.
We set up a protest as a Public Arts Citizens Committee that was on October 11th at City Hall, and that was the third time that the Department of Public Works did not move it forward.
Criticism mainly focused on the monolith's design. Some critics balked at the $1 million price tag and worried about the effect of LED lights on migratory birds. After multiple delays getting permission to build from the Board of Public Works, the monolith that was approved years ago is in limbo. The Parks Department says it may change the design.
We don't have a clear update on exactly where we're going with this at the moment. However, we are looking at different aspects of the project, considering what we've heard from the public and the Board of Public Works and other folks in determining how we can best move this forward.
It's unclear what happens next with the two contracts worth almost $1 million for the project.
But anybody who does work for us, we will pay them. If it ends up being a very different gateway and it's not the same provider, then we may owe them some money for design if that gets changed.
Is there a possibility that because of the delay, the contract might fall through?
Unclear at this time.
Planning this monument played out in the open, in public meetings over 5 years. How were the people of Bloomington caught so off guard? Hamilton pitched to City Council selling $10 million in bonds to improve parks, trees, alleys, and entrances, including beautification of the city's gateways for the city's bicentennial in 2018.
Such as at the Miller Showers Park Gateway.
Again, I think this is a good community investment. I see this as a legacy project.
The entryways, if they were standalone, I would vote against that.
The public got its first peek at the monolith design by Indianapolis architecture firm Rundle Ernstberger Associates at a Board of Park Commissioners meeting in December 2019. It was one of 3 proposed and shared on the city website. The process was delayed by the pandemic, and the monolith's design didn't resurface until 3 years later, when the Park Commission sent it to the Arts Commission for comment. Despite some criticism, the Parks Commission revealed images publicly in an open meeting.
If there's anyone who is attending virtually, if you'd like to use the raised hand feature for public comment.
Nobody from the public weighed in. That changed after a city press release this fall that brought the monolith into the spotlight.
This phallic symbol that's being proposed for the entrance to the city with the picture Bloomington on it and colored lights comes as a great surprise to many of us. And an affront, I must say.
Somebody started the All Hail the Monolith Facebook group, which was kind of a satire, chiding.
The monolith was approved and contracts were signed. All that remained was one procedural step, getting right-of-way from the Board of Public Works so contractors could begin. But for 3 meetings in a row, the board tabled the vote. Normally, attendance at Public Works meetings is sparse, but the monolith discussion attracted a vocal group of critics. Board President Kyla Cox-Deckard says her decision had nothing to do with public pressure. She was worried about how right-of-way could complicate Public Works' College Walnut corridor study.
My concerns really were the connection between these 2 city projects and the way that we could make those work best with the least amount of impact to the right-of-way for the public, especially that particularly busy intersection.
We do not have a second at this time. Motion fails.
When nobody seconded the motion in the October 10th meeting, the audience applauded. The monolith is still in the works, but Street and Hamilton say they're considering public feedback made late in the process.
I know it was certainly out there in the public a couple times before we reached this final release that came out in September. I also understand that some people didn't find it or maybe missed that, and that's something we can continue to look at.
Sometimes you get a process of input, whether it's on a park or it's on a gateway or it's on a plan. and we get a lot of public input, and then people may look at it later and say, hey, I didn't get to weigh in on that, I want to weigh in on that. Sometimes it's too late, sometimes it's not, and government tries to accommodate that as best we can.
For Indiana News Desk, I'm Ethan Sandweiss.
We're now joined by Ethan Sandweiss just for a little bit more. So that monolith, that was only a small part of that whole project.
Well, it's a big part of what the original project was going to be, but it was also supposed to include this pedestrian bridge, Arlington pedestrian bridge over State Road 45, and INDOT ended up nixing that. Anyway, the entire project is over $1 million. $134,000 are going to the architecture firm that designed the monolith. $400,000 are going to the firm that are building the monolith, and then another $575,000 are going to the installation people, the construction workers in Bloomington.
So now they're saying this is not going to happen until next year. So there's going to be a new administration.
Yeah, I spoke with Carrie Thompson about this morning, actually, and Carrie Thompson said that she's glad that the mayor hit pause on this project for now, and she wants to look at some of those earlier designs that were proposed by the architecture firm as a jumping off point for this project.
All right, Ethan, thanks so much for that.